Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Hi, I'm John Malos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. We have 2 guests on this day. We have a photographer in the house to help you take better pictures. You can call in at 436-MeTV option 11. And then the second half hour, tapping into the groundwater, the depleting groundwater supply. We're back with our program in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
The Ballad of Andy and Barney. Andy and Barney were lawmen, bravest you ever did see. Warned every crook in the record book to stay out of Mayberry. They were the law.
Yes, they were the law, and they didn't know fear.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I guess to sum it up, you could say there's 3 reasons why there's so little crime in Mayberry. There's Andy, and there's me, and baby makes 3.
Now on MeTV Fresno.
Back here on the program on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Thursday. It is Arts and Culture Day. We do have a photographer in the house to talk about taking better pictures and how he started his own business. It's really a pretty amazing story. You're watching us live on Comcast Channel 187, 43.6, and now 13.1 live. Later on, you can watch the replay at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on 13.6 YouTube, and 8 o'clock tonight, 13.5. That would be Biz TV. I got to tell you something. To a certain extent, we all think, and we all might be photographers, whether it's still photos or video, but you know, why not? This is the age of cell phones, my friend. At the click of a button, anybody can take a photo or video. So, is the art of taking that once-in-a-lifetime photo really become a lot easier? Let's roll the videotape. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Our first guest in the studio today. And the other question is, are professional photographers still in high demand? Photographers like Doug Rose, who's been on the scene here in Fresno for a few years now, and his bread and butter is building a photo library for commercial and real estate companies. Doug works for London, Pinnacle, Keller Williams, Cagley, and many other real estate firms, going house to house, in fact, building to building, my friends. And with his camera, he creates a virtual tour for that real estate agent who can actually use the photos as a marketing tool. But he says he doesn't consider himself just a photographer. He claims that he is a visual storyteller, and he loves photographing buildings, nature, landscapes, street scenes, hey, how about people scenes, including portraits and family shoots. He was born here in Fresno, graduated from Clovis West, served in the Navy, and was a painting contractor of all things up until about 2005, when he went back to school to learn photography. Live in our studio right now is Doug Rose. He's the man of the hour. How does he do it, and what does he do? What are the trade secrets to shooting a great photo? That lifetime photo, that once-in-a-lifetime photo. 436 MeTV option 11. A lot of video to show you, and still pictures that Doug took, and you can call in and ask him a question. He's got his camera. He's got a camera here, a couple of lenses. He'll explain what he does and how he does it in just a moment. Back with our program after this.
Ladies' Night was started in his honor. Bar stools pull themselves out for him. The only thing Chuck Norris is afraid of is her. Cheers is the most memorable bar in the world. You may not always watch comedy, but when you do, watch Cheers.
Me TV Fresno, channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
You know that program, So You Think You Can Dance? Remember that program? So You Think You Can Shoot Photos? Well, Doug Rose doesn't think he can shoot photos. He knows he can shoot photos because he's done it. How are you, Doug?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you. So, the question, are photographers like yourself, commercial photographers, are they still in high demand?
I think they are, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we get lots of work. We do lots of work for different real estate agencies. We do lots of work for portrait scenes. We do all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, hey, I want to roll the videotape. Let's take a look at tour number 1. This is a photo shoot that you did, Montecito Court, and I mentioned in the monologue that you actually work for some real estate firms and you take virtual tour photos so that these real estate agents can market their product either online, through social media. This is your work right here.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and so what's the trade secret? How do you take great photos? Because this is not video, these are still photos, right?
Well, they actually are. What I do is, first of all, I use high quality cameras. I use Nikon cameras, I use wide angle lenses, it's a full frame sensor, and everything is shot on a tripod.
Everything on a tripod?
Everything.
Because?
Cameras shake. I want as crystal clear an image as possible to start with. Once I get the image in camera, then I go back to the visual studio or the digital studio, and I open up Photoshop and I enhance each image to get the most that I can out of it. I don't remove anything from the photograph, I don't change anything, but I do give it the best look possible.
What is Montecito Court now? What is that?
That is a commercial doctor's office, and this particular agent is a leasing agent. Mm-hmm. He leases the property. So what we're doing here, it's used as a marketing tool for potential doctors or somebody that would be interested in that type of facility to lease.
So you're talking about a general practitioner maybe coming in there with some nurses and
Exactly.
opening up a business.
Exactly.
Okay.
They've got the nurses station. We showed some exam rooms. We show the outside of the building. The restrooms, the lunch area, other. There you go. You've got floor plans. All of that stuff's included in the virtual tour. We produce a virtual tour. What you're looking at now is actually a YouTube. We also produce that. So there's a number of different ways that the listing agent can market their property.
Okay, I noticed that you said that you do use a Nikon camera. You've got a couple of lenses here. Okay, why Nikon?
I love Nikon.
Because?
It's quality all the way. Easy to work with.
What makes it better than, say, Canon?
Canon makes a good product, and it's like anything else. Do you buy a Lexus or do you buy a Chevy? You just get what you pick something that you like and you work with it.
Is it more personal preference? Because Canon and Nikon are pretty close, aren't they?
They're very close.
In
close.
terms of quality. I don't know which one is better. I have no idea, but I'm just saying in terms of quality.
I don't know one's better than the other. One feature might do a little bit better with skin tones. Another one might be a little, another feature for another camera might be a little bit higher quality resolution. For example, the Nikon has got the D800 with 36 megapixels. It's like shooting a medium format camera. Whereas a Nikon, maybe the skin tones are a little bit better.
Yeah, and one might be better for depth of field, right?
Exactly. What it really boils down to is the lenses.
Oh, really? We'll get more into that. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I have a question about taking photographs of farmland. I'm not sure what time of day is the best time to take a photograph of an outdoor area. It seems like every time of day has its advantages. Can you help me with that?
Yeah, that's a great question because you know what? I have the same problem, caller. In the daytime might be the most difficult time to take a photograph, right? When's the best time?
Well, they have the thing called the golden hour, which is the first hour after the sun rises in the morning and the last hour before evening.
Explain that.
Well, simply put, the sun as it goes through the air is more specular during the day. The farther down you get more of your reds and your dark blues and those colors. Light, photography is all about light. And the light changes colors as it moves throughout the day, depending on how the sun or how the earth is in position to the sun. So beginning in the morning when we see those beautiful sunsets and sunrises, that's because the sun's way over there on the side and we're only catching the reds and the blues.
Interesting. So let me see if I got this straight. So at different times of the day, depending on where the sun is, you're going to get different colors on your camera.
You're also going to get different shadows. Exactly, you are. You're going to pick, your camera's going to capture the different colors, but the farther down the sun goes, you're going to see different shadows.
When's the most neutral time of day, would you say?
I prefer either early morning or late afternoon.
Yeah, just like you said.
Yeah, that's my preference.
Yeah.
We have to shoot houses and we have to photograph all day long, so we have to work around that, and there are techniques in doing so. But obviously, if I was going to go out and shoot a piece of property, I'd say let's go out in the evening just before sunset. We'll get some daytime stuff, and as it drops down, we're going to get some nice twilight looks.
Okay, I'm told we got to go to a break. Doug Rose is here, a photographer. A lot more to show you here on Connect with Me. 436-MeTV, option 11. Hey, the best time of day to take a picture, early morning or late afternoon. If you got more questions, if you're kind of a, it's kind of your hobby, you're kind of a photography buff in a way, then call in, ask a question. We've got the professional sitting right here. Back in just a moment.
Place. Familiar and inviting, timeless and warm. MeTV, a place all your own that you can call home.
Hi, honey, I'm home.
This fall, home is where you'll find me.
You mean to tell me that's all there is to it?
That's all.
MeTV Fresno, channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
We get our speed from Mom and Dad. They do stuff super fast. And now they got this new kitchen, so they're even faster. So they can help us with our free throws.
The time-saving Frigidaire Gallery line with a quick preheat and smudge-proof stainless steel that resists fingerprints and cleans easily. It's mealtime in no time, from start to clean. Frigidaire Gallery.
Save more during Frigidaire Gallery bonus days when you buy 3 or more qualifying appliances. See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Okay, back here on the show and Connect with Me, Doug Rose, the professional photographer, is here. I do want to roll another piece of videotape. We'll take a look at tour number 2, and Doug is sitting right here with his camera and a couple of lenses. And right now, we're going to take a look at the medical center. We're going to take a look at one medical center right here in the city of Fresno. And Doug, when you go out on a shoot like this, do you pretty much have an idea of how you're going to shoot it, what time of day you're going to shoot it, and what type of photographs you want to get?
Yes and no.
Is it so? In some cases, it is pre-planned.
Oh, a lot of cases it's pre-planned, but a lot of cases you have to work around the agent. You have to work around the facility. In this particular case, we had to work with the doctors and the doctors' offices, and so there was a time frame. We had to shoot between 2 and 3 on this one, which is absolutely probably the worst time of day to photograph.
Is that right?
Well, yeah, because the sun's straight up, and you have more powerful light coming through the windows. You have you're going to have harsh specular light on the building. Yeah, we make it work.
Do a lot of people think that they can go into a place like this and shoot photos just as well as you do with a cell phone? And is that possible to do that?
Yes and no. Okay. Yes, a lot of people do think that they can shoot just as great with an iPhone. And
I have an iPhone right here.
And I have one in my pocket. And
how good is this camera on this phone, would you say?
Fair to middling. It does a great job for simple stuff that's going to be small resolution. It's going to, you're going to see it on Facebook, or you're going to see it in a small print. What really becomes a challenge for a cell phone is taking that image, uploading it to several different locations, using that image as a marketing tool. That picture becomes it gets worse and worse over time.
The difference between this cell phone camera and that camera is what? I mean, I know that sounds like a stupid question because this camera cost, what, several $1,000s, I'm sure.
Well, this new was $8,000, just the body without the lenses.
$8,000.
$7,999.
How about the lens itself?
This particular lens is $1,200. This one's $1,600. This one's almost $2,000.
Yeah, so this is a business investment. So this doesn't even compare to that because why?
Sensor size. I'm shooting.
What does that mean?
The sensor is what captures the image.
Yeah.
So on a cell phone, you have a little teeny sensor. Well, not to mention a little teeny
microscopic.
Yeah, you have a little teeny sensor here capturing your images.
Yeah.
And all the depth of field and dramatic range and everything else that a full frame sensor is going to capture versus is not even comparable.
Yeah. And on that, the sensor is what?
Size of a 35 millimeter film.
Hold that camera. Let me hold that camera. Let me see how heavy that is. Yeah, it is quite heavy, and I can tell you spent a lot of money on this. And this is the camera that Doug uses most of the time. Do you have one or two cameras?
I carry 3.
You carry 3 cameras, so that's the Nikon right there. $8,000 just for the body, another $1,500 or so for the lens. And he has, here, I'll let you hold that. Don't drop it.
Yeah, no, believe me, I'm not.
And he's got a lens here, as you can see. What kind of a lens is this? I know the name of it.
Go ahead and take the piece off. That's when you see those big old round lenses.
Okay. It's got a big round glass on the end of it. The lens does.
Right.
Okay. Explain this lens here.
Well, I use that lens. This goes down to 16 millimeters. It's maxed out, I think, at 24. It's a very wide angle lens, but it's not a fisheye lens. I don't use any fisheye in real estate photography.
Because why?
Because it curves the walls. If you ever looked at a building and the walls are all going at different angles and stuff like that, that's not the look that we're trying to achieve.
That's your wide angle lens, but it's not a fisheye.
Yeah, that's my other wide angle lens.
All right, I'm going to hold this one up too. So this is a different type of lens here, a wide angle lens as well that Doug uses, and all of these are relatively expensive.
That's probably for the real estate side. That's the most expensive. That's a 2.8 aperture, which means the size of the depth of field type of thing that you can get. This one here is a little less depth of field, so different places, different things. This one I can apply filters on. This one I cannot.
Yeah, 436-ME-TV option 11, and we're talking with Doug Rose, a professional photographer. Let's take a look at a house that's on San Jose here in Fresno. I said in the monologue he does these virtual tours for the real estate agents, and it's really quite an interesting business because they can use this video right here, and this is not video. This what you're seeing right here looks like a piece of videotape that was shot, but it's actually still photos that Doug. How do you make the movement on these still photos here? How is that?
Well,
how is that possible? The pan and the zoom.
Yeah, that's just different transitions that we use on a platform. I've got a great platform that I start with.
Interesting shot there.
Yeah, that's looking over the edge. We want to create a feel, and the idea in this type of photography is to get a person interested in the home, to show them that, hey, this is something that I might like, and then create an avenue and provide enough information that we're not necessarily branding myself. Who I'm really branding in this particular case is Duffy with London Properties, and I keyword every image. I do everything I possibly can and provide enough different types of links that Duffy's able to send that out to everywhere. So when they see that, they can either write on the video itself, get the phone number. If they're looking at the virtual tour, they can find out more information about the tour. They can find out about the school districts. They can find out, there's so much information that goes along with these tours.
But what kind of a feel are you trying to create here with many of these pans and many of these zooms that we're seeing here?
Well, like for example, that bathroom that you see or this bedroom, I want to create what I call a romantic feel.
To every home?
To every home.
But what about the medical building? We kind of saw the same thing in that Montecito Court and also the other medical building. We kind of saw those pans and zooms a little bit, maybe not as much here as here.
Well, they are actually identical. The pans and the zooms are the transitions that we use, and we do that as a way of just stimulating the eye, kind of giving them a feel for what the room looks like. Like this one, it pans in, the other one pans out.
Right.
Just shows you what these rooms are like.
Yeah, and it's a rather slow pan.
Yeah, we don't want to move too quickly. I leave about 4 seconds per image. That's enough time. You're going to be able to see what you see. And
I said everybody thinks they're a photographer because they have cell phones now.
Mm-hmm.
And to a certain extent, I guess that is true, although they do not shoot with the same quality as a professional photographer. So let me ask you the question.
Or composition.
Or composition, but you know, that's kind of professional talk, photographers talk, you know. Amateurs like myself and other people, do they have the eye? Do they have the instinct, the same instinct that maybe you do? Do you have to have an eye for it?
Well, you do. You have to have an artist feel. You look at things from a different light. When I walk into a house, the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at the light and I'm finding the features of that house that would be interesting to me. I try to imagine myself as a home buyer. So when I go into a house, what would I be interested in? What in that particular home is going to capture my attention? And one of the big things is I, with the help of the realtor and the help of the owner, like to stage the house. Less is more, I always say. A house that's real busy, hasn't really been paired, doesn't photograph nearly as well as one that they've taken the time, set some flowers out, set some candles out, done some different things, simple things that really enhance the look of the home. And it creates it. This is what my house would look like if I was to buy that home.
Right. Got to take a break. Doug Rose is here. He is a professional photographer, and we're here talking to him about his business and other things and photography. If you've got a question, 436-MeTV, option 11, an open line here on a Thursday morning on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. Back in a moment.
A top secret location. It's the Spies Who Love Me, bringing together MeTV's top super spies to fight evil at a memorable moment's notice. They're daring.
That's right.
Brave.
Now what are we gonna do?
The best we can.
Suave.
Does that apply to me, Oscar?
Possibly.
And smart.
The old finger in the gun trick.
Maxwell Smart.
MeTV Fresno, channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
Got more videotape to show you in a house that Steve shot over at Shaver Lake. This is a house up for sale, and you know, they can build you one of these for about 600 grand, I understand. Beautiful video, and so not everybody's cut out to be a photographer. You kind of have to have a feel for it, an eye for it.
It has to be a passion.
Yes, it's got to be a passion. But you tell us the story, because you were basically a painting contractor.
I was.
You retired or quit or whatever, and then you went back to school to learn this.
I did. Well,
how did that happen?
I was a painting contractor. I was a painting contractor for 20 years, and I liked painting. The thing is, in 2005, went through some life changes, the market. It got to where I couldn't make any money at it. It was a lot of work, trading dollars is what I said. So after those changes, I decided I wanted to go back to college. I wanted to get my degree. And I found myself attracted to the camera. I loved taking photographs, but I was an amateur at the time, and I wanted to take it up a notch. Never planning on becoming a professional photographer. I just enjoyed going to the classes and learning from the best. Guys like Joe McNally, Julia Dean, various other absolutely phenomenal photographers that learned how to tell a story with light and with a camera. With a single image, you could actually understand what that was about. So I went to school for it.
But so you never had any intention of becoming a professional photographer?
Oh, not at all. No, I never.
So how'd you fall into it?
Just like I said, one thing led to another, which led to another, that led me into, this is something I really want to do. This is something I think I can help other people do. When I came into the real estate side of it, I looked around, I studied it for a long time, like 3 months before I ever even considered it. And I realized that there was a real need in Fresno for good imagery and good marketing.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so for myself, I went back to school again. I went down, being a veteran, I went through the SCORE program. wrote a business plan, an extensive business plan, and everything that is in that business plan is coming true today.
Pretty amazing stuff that you shot here. This house in Shaver up for sale, right?
No,
And
that house isn't up for sale. This
rent?
is nope. This
What?
is a model home.
Oh.
Barnes Construction up in
Mhm.
Shaver Lake. He'll build this house for you for, I think, $600,000, and it is absolutely a beautiful home, great quality. And not only do the real estate agents, but the developers and designers and stagers and all these type of people that need to showcase what they do, this is the perfect genre for it.
All right, 436-MeTV option 11. Hey, I want to roll a piece of videotape, if we can, of our guy Marcus Borelli shooting video of you at work. We're actually going to show you doing your job and shooting some of these photos at various locations, and Doug Rose, of course, at work. And so, do you have clients that sign you to a contract to do these various shoots?
No, not at all.
How does that work?
Well, I charge by the number of images. I have a really what I consider fair price point.
What do you charge for each image?
Oh,
It
I charge
varies?
I charge by package. For 15 images, I charge $149.
Okay.
That you will get the YouTube, you will get the virtual tour, as long as all the images. You'll get an unbranded tour, which is designed for the MLS. You'll get a branded tour, which you can put on other media. We promote it on Facebook, Google Plus, YouTube.
Is that a strobe up on top of the camera there?
It is. That's an SB910 with a softbox on top.
Uh-huh.
And I use that just to soften the room. I like ambient light myself mostly, but if in certain cases where ambient light's not going to work, we need to splash a little light on something, we will.
Have a soft lighting?
Soft lighting.
You like soft lighting?
I do.
Okay, because that makes the picture what?
It makes it's warm. It feels good. It's not specular, is what we consider.
What are you shooting here?
Well, it's not a whole real fancy building, obviously, but that's the only particular detailed item in that room. So I shot the space, and then we went to the back of the building. Again, this one wasn't staged, so we worked with what we had to work with, and we found the best possible angles that we could bring to this shoot, and we photographed them.
So when you go into an open building like this, and it's pretty drab in there, I mean, how many angles can you get of this place inside?
4.
4, that's
It's
it.
square. Shoot one from every direction.
And you're thinking to yourself,
Yeah, I
how
mean,
can
I'm in a field of weeds here,
Yeah.
trying to get the best out of this house.
How can I be creative here is what you're
Yeah.
asking yourself, right?
Exactly. And I've got, and this is a prime example of I'm working with very little, and I'm trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, how did our guy Marcus do on the video there?
He
Pretty
did
good.
good.
Huh?
He did good.
He was kind of creative there, wasn't he?
Well, he had to be. That wasn't a real fancy shoot.
It wasn't a fancy shoot. It wasn't up at
Yeah.
Shaver Lake or something. One
Well,
of those
Van Ness
fancy
extensions
homes.
or something.
Yeah, something like that. We got more of your photos. Some of the. Oh, wait a minute. We got a phone call here. Okay, maybe somebody calling for a tip. Who knows? Caller, you're on the air with Doug Rose. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Linda, and I just had a question. Doug, what do you find to be the biggest challenge when you go out to take pictures?
That's a good question. There's
You
a
have-
number of different challenges. Primarily, from a technical side, it's just finding the best angles and the best light.
Yeah.
From the business side, or working with the clients, what one person considers ready for a photo shoot and what another person considers ready for a photo shoot, in a lot of cases, is two different things. And so,
Why?
we have to gingerly let the client know that we may be moving one or two things around in their home to get the best look. So what I'll do, for example, if a kitchen's got a bunch of stuff on the refrigerator and a bunch of stuff on the top of the refrigerator,
Or
I'll
something on the kitchen table.
or exactly, dishes in the sink, whatever. I'll take a picture of that and I'll show them. And then I said, if you don't mind, let me move a few items for you, and we'll put them right back. And then we'll do that. And then I'll take another picture and I'll say, what do you think looks better? And once that client sees that, then they're like, okay, and we're all working together as a team. And that's really what this is. It's a team effort to go through and capture that home.
Yeah. Hey, what advice
Good question.
would you give somebody who is looking to start out maybe open their own business, a photography business, but maybe they don't have the same schooling you do, but they kind of have an eye for photography, but maybe they don't understand the art of photography, maybe the way you do or some other people do. What advice would you give them on how to approach opening that business? What kind of camera equipment do they initially purchase? Would they buy an expensive camera like this right off the bat and maybe a few lenses, a tripod? What would they do, or should they do?
First thing they need to do is get a camera and just go out and start taking pictures.
What kind of a camera? Not a cell phone camera.
No, not a cell phone camera, and it
What do
doesn't
they
matter
do? Go over
whether
to
it's...
Costco or Walmart and buy a camera, or what?
Well, exactly. I wouldn't go out and buy a $10,000 camera just right out the gate because I wouldn't even know how to use it correctly.
Well, what would you buy? And
I
how
would
much
buy
would you spend?
I would buy an entry-level DSLR. Okay, that is
How much?
$500.
Where do you buy those?
Best Buy, Costco, online, Autorama, B&H Photo, Horn Photo, great location. Talk to the guys down at Horn Photo. I don't mind plugging those guys at all. They're great people.
Yeah.
Go in there, find out what to do. Then I'd start off with Horn Photo classes. They provide some classes right here in town. How to become familiar with the DSLR. What are all those crazy buttons and what do they do?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Doug, we got to take a break. More photos to show. We got one more segment, 436 MeTV option 11, and then our second guest will appear here on our program. Back in a moment.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator. The first compact electric range. Now, there's the Frigidaire Gallery Range with Symmetry double ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Interesting program today. Arts and Culture. Doug Rose is here. We're going to go through some of these photos that you shot and take a look at some of these. Interesting photo shoots by you, Doug Rose. How do they get in touch with you, by the way? We're looking at just various shots of locations here in the city of Fresno. If somebody wanted to call you and say, hey, Doug, I want to hire you because I need a photo shoot on Sunday at such and such location.
Call me, area code 559-240-3286, or you can email me at doug@photographybydoug.net.
What are we looking at here, Doug?
This is a very, very simple building downtown. Typically, we don't have the signage in front of the building, but it's a little warehouse that we shot primarily for this program.
We're going to go through some of these photos rather quickly here. What's this?
That particular building is going to be a historic building, and the guy that sculpted those bronze statues in front of the courthouse, the other one there is Kennedy, and these are, I think they call them the mock-ups, and they still are in existence. We went down there and we just wanted to capture some images of that.
All right.
Just fun.
We'll just go through these one after the other. We'll just keep going.
Hopefully the city of Fresno goes through and takes care of those because they're starting
historical.
They're very nice.
Yeah. All right.
And they're worth keeping.
Some more photo shoots of homes here. We'll go to the next one and the next one. Oh, a beautiful home right there.
That's Van Ness
nice swimming pool, Van Ness extension, I would assume. Okay. And the next one, and we'll keep going. So that was shot. Many of these are shot. That's shot when? Like late in the day?
No, that's a nighttime shot.
Nighttime shot.
That's a twilight. That's Clovis Community Hospital, the new building they built out there.
Okay. All right. And we'll keep going. What's that right there?
Out in Madera, that's another semi-twilight.
Yeah, semi-twilight.
Yeah, you can see where light's been splashed on it. Fun shoots up in Shaver. I like to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this was during the day, I think, right? Or early morning?
Yeah, that guy sells those statues up there.
Is that early morning?
No, that's midday.
Okay. All right. And that turned out pretty good for midday.
Yeah, midday.
Sun's right up above you.
Yeah, you can see the shadows on it.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. You can see some shadows. Okay, we'll keep going. Oh, that's downtown Fresno, right?
Downtown Fresno, me and my daughter. We're just having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the photos, I guess, good or bad, kind of in the eye of the beholder, right?
It really is.
Subjective?
It is very subjective. And that's another thing that I always tell my realtors is, you know, let me know how you want it edited. You know, we can do HDR. We don't have to do HDR. We can enhance them in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. All right. Is that about it as far as the photos? Okay. If we got more, we can put those up here as we talk more to Doug. So don't go out and buy the expensive gear. Go out to a local retailer and spend no more than about $500. And where would you look besides Horn Photo? Where can you take photography classes? Fresno State, Fresno City? Where?
Fresno City's got a great class. I take it also online. There's Kelby One or Lynda TV. Both of these are great platforms. I use Kelby One, for example, $25 a month, all the classes you could ever think of.
I think your story is fascinating. For a guy that spent 20 years as a painting contractor, you spent some time in the Navy, you're a veteran, thanks for serving, by the way, and all of a sudden you got this midlife thing going and you're...
That's about it, too.
Boom! You changed directions and careers just I mean, on a dime. You just turned on a dime and got into this. That's amazing, Doug.
Well, I mean, it didn't happen overnight. I spent about 10 years really learning to develop Photoshop and to study all this stuff. This doesn't happen overnight. It's not going one day I'm going to be a plumber and the next day I'm going to be a professional photographer.
How long did it take? You started in what, 2005 or
2005. It's 14 now. I've been doing it pretty steadily since 2005, but you have to shoot a lot. I shoot 7 days a week.
Do you have to learn Photoshop?
No.
Should you?
Yes.
Because?
Too many instances where you need to replace things, where you need to enhance it a certain way. Photoshop is the king of digital manipulation or pixel manipulation. There's nobody better. But it's the most complicated as well.
One last question. If you stumbled across a major disaster, like an earthquake or something of that nature, and suddenly you became a news photographer.
I love it.
Could you do that?
Absolutely.
And you'd thrive on that?
I would.
Yeah.
I'd love it.
There's a difference, though, between
there is.
shooting breaking news, of course, and doing something that's staged and set up, right?
Absolutely. And there's a difference between doing the real estate side and doing portraits.
Right.
The thing about being a photographer is you have to round yourself on everything.
Right.
You need to go out and when I first started doing portraiture, I worked for a little company called Portrait Scene, paid you $10 an hour, and you went out there and you took pictures of people. I took so many pictures of people that it's second nature to me.
Yeah. You also do family portraits. I want to mention that. Phone number one more time. We got to go.
Area code 559-240-3286, and thank you for having me on.
Doug, a pleasure. You're a gentleman, my friend.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure meeting you and knowing you.
Thank you.
Come back on the show.
All right.
Good luck. All right. Doug Rose, professional photographer. We're back with our second guest here talking about the aquifers, the groundwater that's depleting. Is it? Okay. 436 MeTV option 11. Back in a moment.
Watch Dr. TV on over-the-air channel 13.9.
Welcome to a new beginning. An adventure that goes well beyond passive diversions. Empowering through exploration. Engaging your passions. Inspiring with lives lived outdoors. Come with us. Untamed Sports TV.
You can find Untamed Sports on over-the-air channel 13.8.
Attention all units. We have reports of 2 motorcycle cops protecting California's highways.
That's for us, good buddy.
The Men of Chips are on MeTV.
Hi, I'm John Baker. I'm John Baker. He's Officer Baker.
He's the blonde one.
Hi there.
Officer Poncherello, ma'am. Frank Poncherello.
Oh, I'm Frank Poncherello.
And he's the one who's Eric Estrada.
There's no way I wouldn't remember a name like that.
Catch the blonde one and the one who's Eric Estrada. On
Now
Chips.
on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
Frigidaire. It means the first refrigerator. It means a history of innovations that help make your home life better. And now we introduce the new Frigidaire French door refrigerator with over 100 ways to organize for maximum flexibility. Built with adjustable flip-up and slide under shelving and stackable crisper drawers. It's the refrigerator that flexes to fit it all, no matter what your day will bring. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Euronews, most-watched news channel in Europe.
Hey, glad you're with us here on a Thursday morning on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. Again, you're watching us on Comcast, channel 187, 43.6, 13.1. If you want to watch the replay, very easy, my friends. If you have an antenna, hey, it's over-the-air broadcasting, 2 to 3 o'clock, 13.6 U2, and 8 o'clock tonight, 13.5 on Biz TV. Well, now, my friends, the second guest of the hour here on Connect with Me, and I gotta say, he's a busy man. You know, his waiting list is over a year long if you want to hire him. He's a deep well driller, I should say, and he charges up to $250,000 if you're a farmer, and the farmer wants to dig as far as, well, maybe 1,200, 1,500 feet, something like that. Yes, Steve Arthur owns a well drilling company, and he admits that, yes, the groundwater is depleting at this point. Well, Steve Arthur was a guest on 60 Minutes. They profiled him. Leslie Stahl came out to the Central Valley, interviewed Steve and a few other people, and in this portion of the 60 Minutes piece that we're going to show you, you know, there's a satellite that hovers above the earth that takes pictures underground and is able to capture how much groundwater has been depleted. If you'll take a look at this piece with Leslie Stahl on Sunday, look at the deep, dark red color. It means that our groundwater is depleting.
What about our own food-producing regions, like California's Central Valley, which produces 25% of the nation's food? What is Grace telling us there?
2008.
Right. And now things are going to start to get very red.
Grace is confirming what the Geological Survey well measures have shown, but giving a broader and more frightening picture, since it shows that the rainy years are not making up for the losses.
14.
So
dark red. That's alarming.
It should be.
You dig a well like this. Are you taking water from the next farm?
I would say yeah. We're taking water from everybody.
Well, was that neighbor going to be unhappy?
No, everybody knows that there's a water problem. Everybody knows you got to drill deeper, deeper. It's funny you say that because we're actually going to drill a well for that farmer next door also.
Hey, there he was on Sunday. Here he is live in our studio today here on Connect with Me. His name is Steve Arthur, a well driller. He owns his own company. He's got about 7 drills out there. If you want to hire him, you're going to have to ask him the question today because I think the waiting list is about a year or more. And by the way, that satellite that hovers above the earth and takes these photos underground, I don't know how it does. It's like infrared stuff. Okay, the name of that satellite is Grace. That's what Leslie Stahl was talking about last Sunday on 60 Minutes. This guy was featured here talking about the depletion of the groundwater. Remember, the governor signed into legislation here earlier this year that limits the amount of groundwater that farmers can actually take. That won't take effect, though, for a few years. We're interested in what you think. 436 MeTV option 11. Steve is here. You're there. We're back in just a moment.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator, the first compact electric range, Now, there's the Frigidaire Gallery Range with Symmetry Double Ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
A lot of controversy right now because depleting the groundwater is a major issue here in the Central Valley, but if the farmers are not getting that surface water, the question is, where are they going to get it? They got to go underground, and they're paying big time money to go underground and get that water. Steve Arthur is our guest now. Hey, maybe I should ask for your autograph here, huh? 60-minute star with Leslie Stahl. That's pretty impressive there, Steve.
I guess that's what people have told me.
So how'd it go with her? Pretty good?
It went okay. She didn't ask a lot of questions I would have liked for her to ask.
Such as?
You know, what do we think about this deal? Talk to a farmer. Couple of issues is that, a lot of people don't even realize that a lot of this water from the valley goes to LA and to the cities. Mm-hmm. They're always thinking, oh, the farmers are taking all this water, but there is a lot of water that goes to LA from the valley every day through different irrigation districts.
Yeah, what questions would you like for her to have asked you that she did not ask?
Well, that's one of the questions is, what do we think needs to be done?
Well, what do you think needs to be done?
Well, we should have been a long time ago getting dams in place so that if we would have had dams in place, we could have used water that was stored up. We may not have had a lot of it, but if we could have if the farmers could have got half the water that they normally get, they could have survived. They would have had to drill a few wells, but you wouldn't even be talking the word drought. Most of the wells that have been replaced were older wells that were shallow, and they've been there since the 50s and 60s. So they were actually due to be replaced and deepened to get to some new aquifers.
Any other questions you wish she would have asked?
I wish she would have talked to some farmers.
Yeah, and talked to them about
how they feel about this. They're always saying the farmers are taking the water. Farmers are taking the water. The farmers are feeding the world. I mean, they're growing all this stuff. They're not just waking up in the morning and saying, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to spend $250,000 on a well. They would much rather do something else with that money instead of having to drill wells and put pumps in.
So it's either, for the farmers, it's either hire you to drill and get the water underground, go into the aquifers, or go out of business? Is that it? Is that what it boils down to?
Basically, that's what it amounts to. That if the government says, hey, you can't drill a well, okay, the farmers are going to say, well, I can't farm this 200 acres, so you know what? I don't need you two guys. I got to lay you off. I got to sell some equipment. And you get a bunch more farmers doing that exact same thing, you've got a real major problem.
We got some video here that our guy Marcus Borelli shot of your drill here. You have 7 drills, right?
Yes.
And they're all operational day in and day out, 7 days a week?
Most of them are. Some are in the shop. There's usually at least one in the shop for repairs and servicing at all times.
Yeah, and this, we can see it right there going underground. How far down are you going here?
This one's over near Kingsburg. We're only going about 300 feet.
All right, but on occasion, you do have to go 1,500, maybe 1,200 feet, right?
I've got a rig right now. I just talked to the driller this morning. He's 1,600 feet.
Oh,
and the farmer is possibly going to change his mind and wants to go to 2,000.
What kind of special equipment do you have to go 1,600 feet down? I mean, that's, like Leslie said in her piece, I don't know how many people saw it, that's pretty much the height or the length of the Empire State Building.
Yes, and number one, you got to have big enough equipment to go the depths that you need to go to handle the weight.
And obviously you got that equipment.
Yeah, because some of these wells, when you get into those deeper wells, your casing can weigh as much as 110 to 140,000 pounds.
What's that water there? Is that coming out of the ground right
That's
there?
water that we inject in the ground to float the cuttings out.
Okay, that's not water that's coming out of the ground.
Oh, no, not that one.
Okay, so
no, they're actually just started drilling right there.
They just started drilling. So when you go 1,600 feet down, what could you possibly run into before you get to that water?
You get into a lot of harder formations, and have to change bits from what we're using here is just a drag bit, which is for a soft formation. You'll have to go to a roller bit or a tricone. That'll just grind the cuttings up so you can get them out of the hole.
Yeah, let's roll videotape number 2 and the drilling. It's got no sound here, but we kind of get the idea of what we don't need to hear it. We're just going to talk over it a little bit. And so, do you ever run into hard pan and you have to stop because your drill just can't get through it?
Most of the time, no, because we've just changed bits. For example, if we're close to the mountains and we hit granite, we'll set casing to the granite, and then we'll switch everything to air, put a hammer bit on, and then we'll go ahead and drill into the granite.
Man, and so what does one of these drills cost you? If I wanted to purchase one, what would it cost?
The drill rig alone will run between $1.2 million to $1.4 million.
Wow, and you have 7 of them.
Yeah, then you have to buy all the support equipment. Like, for example, the pipe that is drilling, that they're actually turning there, on some of the bigger rigs, it's actually about double that size. That pipe is $100 a foot.
And why do you charge, like, say, up to $250,000? That's a lot of dough.
Well, there's a lot of material goes into these wells. There's a lot of, you got casing, you got gravel, you got fuel. There's so much stuff there that you got, and you never know what's going to happen down there. You could hit something hard and actually twist your bit off.
Farmer says, hey, I'm hurting financially. Can you give me a price break? Would you do it?
We'll work with some of the farmers, you know, if they're regular customers and they say, hey, you know, I'm a little bit tight, but I need this well. They'll pay for one well and maybe, you know, say, hey, can you give me 30 days on the second well?
436 MeTV option 11. We're back with Steve Arthur and his drilling company in just a moment.
It's Sully and Russ on the Big Biz Show.
It's your biz.
And maybe they'll start listening to Baldwin McCullough.
Now, before you make any money moves, check in with the Brain Trust.
And you are starting your week off right.
Back here on the program with Steve Arthur. How long have you owned your drilling company?
Well, I started helping my dad in 1974. My dad actually started drilling in 1959 when he got out of the Army.
Right.
And in 1971, he decided to get into a business for himself. And ever since then, he's been growing.
All right, we'll roll some more videotape here of you drilling out there near Kingsburg. And let me ask you something. Were the farmers upset at the 60 Minutes piece done by Leslie Stahl because she did not interview them?
Some of them were, yes. A lot of the farmers that I drilled for called me or texted me, and we're talking about that.
Yeah. Caller, you're on with Steve Arthur. Your question?
Yes, Steve. Let me ask you a quick question here. Have you ever had upset residents or farmers that know you're drilling and you're getting out water, maybe their water or whatever, you know? I always come across a lot of drillers, whatever, and I would say to myself, man, someone has to be getting upset, you know, maybe the government in a couple of years. But, I mean, have you ever had people threaten you because you guys are drilling, or your guys, you know, as you guys go through the valley? That would be my question.
Good question. Okay, thank you very much, caller, for that question. Outstanding question. You get some upset folks out there?
No, most of the time, the only thing anybody ever complains about is our noise, because sometimes these rigs will run all night long.
Okay, here's an email question for you, Steve, from Larry Y. At the current rate, will the prolonged drought conditions, when will the San Joaquin Valley run out of aquifer water, the water underground?
Well, I'm not a geologist, so I can't answer that question. But, I mean, most of these wells were always drilled back in the, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s, back in there. So now they're all going dry because the water is going down, yes. But
will it be replenished? Can it be?
If we ever get some water up in the mountains, yes, where we can store some water.
The groundwater would be replenished.
Oh, yeah, the irrigation districts all have ponds and trying to recharge.
Caller, you're on with Steve. Go ahead.
Hello. I missed the first part of your program. What happens if you run into, or do you ever run into oil or any other foreign substance other than granite or sand and that?
We run into a little bit of natural gas. It's more of a methane gas than a natural gas, but we run into that. We just put some mud in the hole to keep the pressure down and go ahead and drill. Sometimes we actually hit redwood chips down in the wells from trees and stuff like that.
All right, another piece of videotape here from the drilling. And so, I mean, how far down can you go to get water? Can you go beyond 2,000 feet?
If you get bigger rigs, yes, you can go 4 or 5. Like, for example, there was an oil rig I saw the other day. He was going 17,000 feet.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of getting bigger equipment to go deeper.
All right, is the ground sinking? In the piece that we saw Sunday on 60 Minutes, Leslie Stahl talked about, you know, the fact that over the course of the last maybe half a dozen years or so, the ground has actually, it really has sank here in the Central Valley up to 6 feet.
I don't know any depths, but yes, I've seen wells that you can see the difference where it has settled some.
It has settled, but actually has sunk, right?
I haven't seen no big sinkholes or anything like that. All I've seen is that the casing...
But it's lower, right?
The ground around it is a little bit lower. You know, I've not seen the big ones. I've seen it maybe 6 to 12 inches.
Should we be doing as much drilling as say, what you are or other drillers are up and down throughout the state?
Well, that's a good question. If we had surface water and had some dams, kept some of the water in the valley instead of sending it to L.A., we could probably cut back on the drilling.
Yeah, but, you know, that's an age-old question, and of course it has to do with the Delta smelt, some of the salmon runs, and the environmental groups that want to save that water, and much of it goes down into the ocean, and it comes down out of the federal water that comes down out of the dams. And so, you know, there's a long-term solution to this problem, but not a short-term solution. So the short-term is drill until this thing is fixed, or what?
That's basically it. The government's not giving them no choice. They're not building any dams. And even if we do start to build dams, it's not going to happen in a year or two.
It'll be what?
God, it'll take them 15 or 20 years to figure out what they want to do.
So for the next 15 or 20, we've got to go underwater and or go underground and get the water, or our farmers may go out of business?
Or farmers are going to have to quit drilling wells. But, you know, farmers don't like drilling the wells. They would much rather use surface water, and I would like to see them use surface water because I really don't like to be this busy.
Really? How come?
It's too much headache. I mean, everybody's calling. Everybody wants to go faster and faster. We try to go faster. We tear the equipment up. Then we're down trying to fix it. Yeah, everybody thinks well drillers are getting rich, but
so are you getting rich? You know?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, I mean, when you bring up figures like 250 grand, you know, a person like me or others might think, wow, you're making money.
Well, by the time you get a drill rig fully equipped, one of the bigger ones, you're going to be looking at probably around $2 million, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, so you're talking about operating costs.
Yes.
Yeah, and you got to pay the crew.
You got to pay these drillers good money, otherwise they go someplace else. You got to update your equipment for the environmental stuff now.
Right.
And these rigs, as you know, they burn a lot of fuel.
How far down does the water go?
I don't know. The deepest we've been has been about 2,100 feet, and we've had water down to that depth.
Right.
And I know of some other people that have went, you know, 2,800, 3,000, and they found water.
Quickly, if one of the farmers wants to contact you, I know it's a year wait. How would they do it? You got a phone number?
Yeah, they could call my office at 559-896-5369.
Hey, next time you're on 60 Minutes or any of these big-time network programs, let us know. We're talking to a star right here. Hey, Steve Arthur, it's good of you to come on. I'm glad you got a little bit of a sense of humor, too. We're kind of kidding you a little bit, but it's good to see you today, and hopefully, you know, maybe the situation will get better. Maybe it'll rain.
Everybody just hope for some rain and some snow, and you know, that would help out a lot.
Yeah, it really would. Steve, good luck to you.
All right.
Thanks for being here today.
All right.
Steve Arthur, a well driller here in the city of Fresno. Tomorrow, another program coming your way on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Have a good day.